That was eloquent. All right. So, welcome anybody watching this on Twitch or YouTube to my draft analysis video for the ICBA Season 4. I don't know if it's required to have a draft analysis video. We don't have a draft stream, so I don't feel bad streaming myself with my draft analysis video. Kill two birds with one stone. I want to thank ItzSawk for joining me on this. We had planned very, very rapidly and unexpectedly to do this together. ItzSawk is not in the ICBA, but it is an Ubers league, and I have no experience with Ubers. ItzSawk has at least moderate experience with Ubers, so I'm hoping that he can shed some light onto some of the mons that, whether or not they'll be good or not in Ubers.
That's very true.
So, ItzSawk, would you like to say anything to the people before we get started?
Yo, what's going on, you ICBA type people? You see what I did there? It's ItzSawk here.
I do see what you did there. Hopefully you are loud enough for the recording. If not, we're just gonna deal with it.
Yeah. Screw it.
No, we're just, at this point, we are committed. So, if you are watching this on YouTube after the fact, I hope you guys enjoy. Leave some comments, tell me if you like this style of thing, and I might bring it back again with other guests, or ItzSawk again in the future for other draft analysis videos. Since I'm doing so much league content at this point, I need more perspectives than just my own on my own drafts at this point. So, ItzSawk, here's the joke that I like to tell. The thing I like to say at every draft is that I have never, ever in the history of the New York Empoleon been drafting before 8th overall in any draft, ever. So, naturally, as the 11th overall pick in the ICBA, out of 16, is in Ubers League, and many Ubers went 1 through 10. Now, there is a Pokemon that, having never drafted 8th, or before 8th specifically, and the only reason I say before 8th is because the TTM Summer Showdown had pools of 8. I was 8th. So I've drafted, like, that was the worst possible spot I could have gotten. I mean, it wasn't a bad spot, like, you get the wheel pick, but still, it's like, you also get the 8th overall pick. So, a Pokemon that never makes it to me, ever, in draft, is Landorus-Therian form. So I decided that I wasn't going to waste all of my free points on an Uber right away. Instead, I was going to take Landorus-Therian. So, ItzSawk, do you believe that Landorus has a good matchup in an Uber's format?
In the Ubers format, it actually has a really respectable matchup. It does almost the same things it does in OU. It gets rocks, it can run Scarf, it can run Dual Dance, it can kaboom on everything it wants to besides Giratina. But it's a very splashable Pokemon in any team. You needed to go defensive 1 week, it's perfect for that job. Just because it's an Ubers League, it's Landorus-Therian. It's still going to do well.
Alright. So, I just wanted to, like, pick something that I thought would at least be able to handle itself in an Ubers League. I mean, there's still a first-round pick, you know, like, yeah, I'm 11th, but because it was a lot of Ubers Mons went first, like, all the Tier 1s were still there. And so I was wondering if, like, a second good Tier 1 Mon would come down to me, like, in the round 2 slot. And I was like, maybe Celesteela is going to drop. Not that I would ever pick Celesteela, because I hate it. But it'd be really good in this format, I feel like.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, like, obviously, like, Naganadel and Magearna and Protean Greninja and Mega Metagross, those are all going, like, first few picks. So I wanted something that was going to handle, like, as many of those as possible, and I thought Landorus-Therian would do a pretty good job. The one Bernie, welcome to the stream. Hope you're having a wonderful day today. Glad to have you with us. So, I'm just gonna, I don't know, I'm still streaming. Like, that's still a part of what I'm doing right now.
Still streaming, it's just like, YouTube's just gonna look at this and be like, oh, hello, Bernie, hope you're doing well.
Yeah. Oh, wait, I should actually,
pull up the next Mon?
Yeah, I should probably do that. So, next up, after Landorus, there was the only other Mon that I decided that I actually wanted going into the draft that I got, and that being Mega Gallade. I just thought, I've never used it before, and again, this being a format that has Ubers, things like Magearna, things like Protean Greninja, how do you handle those without wasting an Uber's Mega slot? Because that seemed to me like not the best idea. I really didn't want to take an Uber's Mega. And so I thought Mega Gallade could do well. Maybe you can tell me that it would or wouldn't. But I I personally feel like base 165 attack is good even in an Uber's format.
Yeah, actually, Mega Gallade does have a slight niche in the Uber's tier with the ability at 110 base speed, and that speeds quite a lot of the bulkier Pokemon, such as like Primal Dawn and all those fun Ubers, especially League format. Bulk up Mega Gallade. What's switching into those stabs? And you think you're good just because you resist Psychic and Fighting? Nah, this thing could just whip a piece of grass at you, call it Leaf Blade, and OHKO you.
Knock off, Shadow Sneak. This thing gets Earthquake. Like, it gets good coverage moves. I was pretty excited when I saw it.
It's crazy because I believe you said it, that it has almost the same coverage as Gardevoir.
Oh yeah, and I'm really comfortable with Gardevoir. So, Will-O-Wisp, Skill Swap.
Fun ability.
It gets Destiny Bond, Thunder Wave. You get some weird moves that like you can definitely tech in League format. Can you imagine me just like pulling out Skill Swap on a Magearna, thinks it's gonna get a Soul Heart, takes me out. Instead, it's Inner Focus Magearna, doesn't get any boosts.
Dude, I would flip.
I mean, if I'm clicking Skill Swap on a Magearna and not close combat, I feel like I'm in a bad place. But it's an option. So after Mega Gallade, this is where the draft started going horribly, horribly wrong. I was prepping with my front office at this point. They asked if they could help me with the draft, and I said sure. So we decided we were gonna actually build a team around a Pokemon that they were like, yo, this is gonna handle Magearna. This is gonna be great. So they decided they were gonna build around Magneton. They were like, we are gonna make an Uber's draft team based around Magneton. And I was like, why? So they were like, so Magnezone is too expensive. It's tier 2. It's hard to like easily put into a team. Magneton, low tier, cheap, outspeeds Magearna, naturally, where Magnezone does not. Has Magnet Pull for Celesteela, for Magearna, for Skarmory, for any Steel type. And admittedly, Electric Steel is not a terrible type if you don't have a team that's weak to ground type attacks, which is why I grabbed Landorus-T. So, they were like, you need to grab some stuff that's off the ground, potentially. So I was looking at Hydreigon, which I thought paired really well with the team I had going on right now. So Hydreigon got sniped. So then we were like, okay, well, why don't we take a look at some bulky waters? And so they were suggesting things like Milotic, which got taken. They were suggesting things like Vaporeon, which got taken. And so eventually we decided we were running out of Pokemon. I felt like we were running out of Pokemon. It was the third round, and I felt like we were out of Pokemon. So I panicked, and I picked Tapu Fini, because we were talking about bulky waters as the last thing we were talking about. And Tapu Fini was tier 2 in this league for some reason. Which I was like, as tier 2, I think it's worthy of a third round pick. Honestly, Mega Gallade does not appreciate being burned, so I don't mind getting that Misty Terrain up for it. And I've run Tapu Fini before. I'm pretty comfortable with it. Decent special attack. You run that thing with specs, it can really hit hard. But otherwise, you know, Assault Vested Fini or Defog or whatever other thing you want to run on this, it can. The only thing it's missing is kind of reliable recovery, which isn't great for your bulky water, but that's, you know, is what it is. So, Sock, tell me about this in the format that I'm about to get into.
In Ubers, especially in Uber's draft format, Tapu Fini is actually a steal at tier 2 because of the fact it's a fairy type, and a lot of the Uber's Pokemon are known for being hard-hitting dragon types or like hard-hitting bulky psychics that just OHKO everything, cough cough Mewtwo. And Tapu Fini 130 Spadef, that is eating anything that wants to come at it up. It can't be toxic, so it can't be worn down easily because of its Misty Surge. It's absolutely fantastic. If this thing got Recover or Moonlight, go with Moonblast. If it got Moonlight, it honestly would be borderline Ubers because it would be that good.
But instead, it'll slowly get worn down. So at this point, my team's like, you know what you don't have is Recovery. Like, it's a notable thing that I'm missing right now in Landorus-T, Mega Gallade, and Tapu Fini. So we're gonna start looking for a Wish Passer. And being my front office, they were like, oh, you know what Wish Passer we want? Licky Licky. And I was like, you guys realize that you are building a team for an Ubers draft around Magneton and Licky Licky, right? And they're like, I don't see the problem. And I was like, okay. So, I'm going to draft an electric type. It's going to be Raikou. And we're going to deal with it, all of us together, later. And they were like, no, don't draft Raikou. It's just the worst Jolteon. It got sniped anyway. Zeraora also got sniped anyway.
That's 5. I'm counting this.
So we, and then as I was trying to prep for like, okay, what other thing could I take? Maybe I can stick it out for Heliolisk or another electric type after Jolteon gets sniped. It gets to my pick, and maybe we're gonna look at Magneton. Like, for real, maybe we're gonna look at Magneton. And so then I was like, it got to my pick. I really didn't have anything prepped. So at that point, I just decided, you know what, Pokemon that I'm incredibly comfortable with, the front office agreed that I've used it incredibly well in the past, made playoffs with it in leagues before. Might as well just take Jolteon. It's tier 3. It's a base 130 speed. I didn't have anything except for Mega Gallade that was going to be over 100 at this point. This gives me a much faster speed tier, which the GBA gave me a lot of crap for not having speed tiers. So wanted to grab something fast. Volt Absorb, really useful ability. Quick Feet, also really useful ability. Surprisingly useful, in my opinion, for a Pokemon that already starts at base 130. Misty Terrain, Quick Feet is going to be hard to manage, but since I'm using them on the same team, I can definitely try to prep around it. But yeah, Volt Absorb, incredibly helpful for the Fini. Pairs really well with that. So I thought Jolteon was it would fit my team really well. Really fast Volt Switcher. Potentially gets Wish if you really want to run base 65 HP Wish. But, they were trying to tell me to get a Wish Passer, so I said I'm going to get Jolteon.
Hey, you accepted, and you did.
Yeah, and so my front office was okay with this, but then they were like, okay, we didn't get Hydreigon, so now we need a Dark type. And I was like, okay. And they were like, you know what, Dark type? I was like, guys, please don't do this to me. And they were like, Guzzlord.
That's just my face hitting the table.
So they were like, you don't have a Dragon type. You wanted Hydreigon. And I was like, yeah, I wanted Hydreigon. I didn't just want a Dark Dragon type out of nowhere. So we went back and forth. Spoilers, Guzzlord did not get sniped. But in round 5.
Round 5 Guzzlord. Hold up, people. We got the new wave.
But we were looking at a couple of Dark types, and the one thing that we were still wary on was that Deoxys speed and defense were both still available in the Ubers tier. And I still hadn't used any free points yet. So they said, make sure you keep your free points just in case you want to grab one of those later. And I was like, well, I already got Mega Gallade. I don't think I need another Psychic type that does the same basic job, but worse. And so the only other mon at this point in Ubers was Ho-Oh. That was legal for me to pick up. That was it. Like Mega Latios was still available, but like I couldn't pick it up to have Mega Gallade. So I was like, I'm not picking up Ho-Oh because it's not legal to have Regenerator Ho-Oh in this format, just Pressure. And I was like, without Regenerator, Ho-Oh is terrible. Like, it's not worth Ubers at all. But then they were like, oh, Flying types, Dark types, Flying types, Crobat. And I was like, guys, what? So then that got sniped. So I couldn't pick that up. Not that it helped my speed tiers anyway, and I had really no intention of picking it up, but my front office was really upset about it. So I decided Dark type, Flying type, the logical next step, not wasting free points either, was Mandibuzz. So, Sock, does Mandibuzz work in Ubers, in an Ubers draft?
In Uber's draft format, it's actually really good. Given, like I said earlier, there's a bunch of Psychic types in that Uber's tier. You can go ahead and switch in that Psychic type all you want to. This Dark type really does not care what you're throwing off. And Mandibuzz having 105 base defense, 110 HP, and 95 speed def. It may not look the best across, but this takes way more hits than you would ever think of.
Yeah.
It is a fantastic Pokemon. I love this mod.
Yeah, I love it too. I've used it before. Overcoat gives me an immunity to any sort of sporing move, which is really nice, and weather damage, which is really nice. Roost, obviously, reliable recovery is something that I was definitely lacking still. And I just thought Mandibuzz fit well with Foul Play, also, for the Ubers format, for things that just hit like a truck. Can definitely really put some work in. It gets Knockoff, gets Brave Bird. I think it gets U-Turn as well. Not that anyone runs U-Turn Mandibuzz, but you can.
Hey, Volt-Turn's always nice.
It is. I mean, I have myself some Lando-T, Jolteon, Mandibuzz, Volt-Turn action. And, you know, maybe one week I decide to run Assault Vest Mandibuzz. Who knows? Take those T-Bolts from Mew and Mewtwo. So after this, I'm not going to go through every Pokemon that got sniped again. Just put like 4 onto the list. Because at this point, this was where one of my front office guys said, dude, best spinner in format? Cryogonal. And I was like, we're going to have a long and serious talk about my front office in a minute. But Cryogonal actually got sniped at this point.
Huh. Weird.
Alongside a couple other mods that I was looking at. And I don't even remember what all of them were, to be honest, but I was like, there was like 3 in a row that got sniped. One of which was Druddigon, which was going to be something I really wanted on this team. It looked so good, base 120 defense, Dragon type I didn't have, really good Dragon Tail, Stealth Rocker. I really liked Druddigon on this team. That's gone. I still don't have much of a Grass, Water, Fire core. I just have the Tapu Fini. So I decided at this point to grab, and I also get told a lot that I'm missing Spikes and Toxic Spikes as on my team. That is not what I meant to do. And so I decided to grab Roserade, which is a really reliable Spiker and Toxic Spike setter in my opinion. Technician boosted hidden powers can really hit whatever you need them to hit, and Natural Cure is really useful. Along with Aromatherapy, it gets fun coverage in Dazzling Gleam. Hits stupidly hard with base 125 special attack. That's the same as Gardevoir, I think. So you put that Sludge Bomb on this thing, it's going to hit like a truck. You put Leaf Storm on this thing, that's going to hit like a truck. But even if you want to run Magical Leaf Technician, like that is absolutely worthwhile. I mean, that's base 90 from Technician, never misses, and, you know, there's really no drawback to it. So, Sock, do you think this is a good spike setter for my team?
Honestly, the speed tier goes with your team really well, along with the ability to take out toxic spikes that really wear down your team, considering Mega Gallade hates being toxic, and Jolteon isn't going to get that quick feed boost anyway because of Tapu Fini's Misty Surge. The ability to get rid of them is amazing. The Grass type is really pairing well with it. 125 special attack. Nukes. Absolute nukes. Roserade is such a fun Pokemon to use. It has a slight niche as probably, I'm going to say it, the best spike setter in format.
Better than Cryogonal?
Oh, absolutely better than Cryogonal.
I would hazard that it's probably not the best T-Spike setter in format. From my experience with Cofagrigus, that thing is really good at setting up T-Spikes. But Roserade getting both, super reliable. I do think that there's other Pokemon like a Selgor, Scolipede that do a really good job of being spike setters when that is the job you give them. But I think Roserade, when you give it that job, also is incredibly reliable about it. Threatens enough things to force switches to get its spikes up and then get out. Usually getting more than one layer, which is really nice. And again, for those keeping track at home, probably put on like 2 or 3 more snipes. This draft was absolutely not what we started with. But at some point during the middle of this round, between Roserade and my next pick, we actually came to the conclusion that like we did need a fire type, and there was a few left. Darmanitan was still on the table, Blacephalon was still on the table, and actually those didn't go. So we were like, do we want to wait another round to take the fire type that we're looking for, because we don't mind really any of those? And then we decided, no. Let's not mess around with this draft. Nothing's going right. There's a Pokemon that we want. Let's take it. So I decided to grab Chandelure. At the beginning of this draft, my team was looking incredibly physically offensive with Landorus-T and Mega Gallade. And now with Jolteon, Roserade, and Chandelure, it started looking a little bit more special, which I don't mind because it does prevent Intimidate, and special attackers are just generally harder to wall. They do less damage to themselves when they're hit with Confusion, things like that. So, yeah, Chandelure, Ghost Fire type. ItzSawk, thoughts?
I absolutely love Chandelure. It is one of my favorite Pokemon of all time. This Pokemon still gives me nightmares from PCL because it hits so god dang hard. 145 base special attack. It has a wonderful move pool. It gets Psychic, Shadow Ball, Fire Blast. It gets Trick. It gets Will-O-Wisp, of course.
Energy
base
Ball.
90s, Energy Ball, of course. That thing gives me nightmares. But this Pokemon is just so good. Scarf. It can run Specs. I've seen Choice Banded as memes.
Oh man, Choice Banded 55 base attack.
I think it gets Trick Room too, if I'm not mistaken.
Wouldn't surprise me to find out that it does.
It's just an amazing Pokemon. This thing can be just splashed on so many teams. Oh, I see a Clefable. That is not taking 2 Fire Blasts from a Spec Chandelure, I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, and I really like Flash Fire, giving me some Fire type immunity for the Roserade protection there. And then Infiltrator, obviously going through substitutes, super useful abilities. So then, I wanted, at this point, I still didn't have, I just used 200 of my free points on Roserade and Chandelure, two tier 3s. So naturally, I just drafted 4 straight tier 3s in this format. Now, the ICBA had, excuse me, a tier 1A and a tier 1B, a tier 2A, tier 2B, etc., which means that the B tier is still counted as that slot for the tier. So like if I took it as a tier 1B, it's still my tier 1 Pokemon. But then if I took a tier 1B for a free Pokemon, it was actually cheaper than a tier 1A. So I really wanted to take a tier 1B as my last major free pick, and then a tier 5A as my last pick overall. And I have a couple picks in between, so I said I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait on Scizor, which was the planned Mon to get. I was going to take it in like round 10, because not many people had points left for a tier 1 Mon, and one of the guys that had points left already had Genesect, so I was like, I don't think he's going to take Scizor as well. So I decided, I'm going to close my door. I decided to wait on Scizor. So naturally someone else took it. I wasn't paying attention. He actually grabbed a low tier Mega and then Scizor afterwards, which was awesome. Totally wasn't paying attention to that in the draft. Otherwise, probably would have taken it. Got on this weird kick in my head where I was like, I need a bug type. Why? I don't know. I already have plenty of Rock Week Pokemon and definitely don't need a bug type on this team. So I decided to grab Ribombee. It's a Pokemon I've always wanted to try in format. I've never actually used it. Fastest Sticky Webber in the game. Another Defogger. Second Fairy type, which like you said, the Ubers tier does not love fairies. So that's really helpful to me as well. And all the other things Ribombee does, Quiver Dance and Sporing moves and whatever else Ribombee does, that Ribombee does. Thoughts on this particular pick, ItzSawk? I panicked when Scizor got drafted, so.
Honestly, this is not a bad panic grab. 124 base speed here outspeeds both ninjas, which I guarantee are coming against your team so far because you love the moves Ice Beam and Energy Ball so far. But 124 base speed with Quiver Dance at base 95. After one Quiver Dance, you're outspeeding everything, even Scarfers. There's no possibility. You can also get Sticky Webs up. You also get Psychic. You also get U-Turn for some more Volt Turn action, because who doesn't love Volt Turn? You also get some very interesting coverage moves, like you get Energy Ball, Psychic, like I said, Pollen Puff, Bug Buzz, they're the same thing, Moon Blast, which is a really fun move, and yes, a couple interesting utility moves.
This thing does learn quite a few random moves, which, as people are starting to learn, I love to run, so expect this Ribombee to come with some non-standard stuff most of the time. So now we're getting to the low point of the draft. I've forgotten that I didn't get a Dragon type, and I was running out of points. Ribombee took the tier 4 slot, so I didn't take any points, but I still didn't have anything in tier 5, and because Scizor got taken, there were only 2 steel types left out of tier 1, and I didn't have a steel type yet, and I definitely wanted one, which were Skarmory in tier 1B or Jirachi in tier 1A. Those were it. And I told my front office that I didn't want to use a Pokemon that I'm using in another league, and I drafted Jirachi first round in the IBL. But it was still available. So in round 9, at this point, I decided I was going to go with my tier 5. I decided I was going to go with the Dragon type. We are not going to grab Licky Licky. You may have noticed we're probably not going to get Magneton either. Spoilers, we're not. So my whole front office draft plan fell through, even though those Pokemon didn't get sniped. But I decided to take Drampa. So shoutouts to Danza, which I believe is what this Drampa will be named all season. I didn't have anything super slow. I didn't have anything that like really could give me nice immunities. This is immune to Ghost. It's immune to Grass if I run Sap Zipper. It made immune to weather effects if I run Cloud9. Or it just boosts itself with Berserk. So definitely options. Stupid coverage. I mean, absolutely stupid coverage. If I'm not mistaken, Drampa only doesn't get one type of offensive Z move, which is absolutely insane. So, as a tier 5 pick, do you think Drampa is the Dragon type I should have gone with?
Oh, absolutely. I love this Dragon. I've used it in the league before, and it hits so hard. Like 135 special attack is huge. Plus the ability to reliably roost. It can, I believe it gets defog if I'm not mistaken.
I can look it up. I don't know for sure.
But yeah, I know it gets roost. So this thing can be just a special bulky boy or girl.
Looks like it does get defog, so for sure.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It's another good bulky defogger. It is just absolutely bonkers. 3 great abilities. Like, you can't go wrong with a tier 5 Dragon type. That's like immune to Shadow Ball, that has a high special attack, 3 great abilities, that all adds up to 1 GOAT Pokemon.
Yeah, and I do have Trick Room on Mega Gallade and Chandelure right now as well, if I wanted to put it under Trick Room.
Boy.
But that's when I decided that Skarmory was not the Mon. It's too passive in my opinion. I already have a Spike Setter, so I don't need it for anything specific. So I decided to go with my Steel type as Jirachi, which I'm getting familiar with in the IBL as well. So, round 10 Jirachi. Thoughts, Sock?
Why is it still there? How is it still there? And you stole this Pokemon from everyone else. Jirachi is the definition of hacks. Like, Jirachi is always a win con. Doesn't matter if it's like at 2%. If you're running Scarf Ironhead, you can still win that game because Jirachi is Jirachi. Like, the amount of times I've been hacked out of games, 2 of them from Jirachi. I can't even be mad at this point because hacks just follows. But Jirachi, I see a Jirachi and I automatically just like, okay, this is over. I'm just gonna get Ironhead flinched. Like, and you have to prep for that. You have to force Scarf first to make sure you don't get outright hacked by Jirachi with Heart Stamp or Ironhead.
Yeah, and so I don't ever get hacked. So this will be interesting with Jirachi in 2 different leagues. My goal is between the 2 leagues to have 1 week where I get an Ironhead flinch. Because I guarantee it's going to be a long time before I get one. Spoilers, not that anyone, it's not really a spoiler, I don't get one the first week of the IBL. So, we're still looking for that first Ironhead flinch with Jirachi. Lord of Delight, welcome to the stream, by the way. Just throw that in this round 10 pick. I also figured my team looked really, really specially offensive. And at this point, because I took Jirachi, which was a tier 1A, I needed to take a tier 5B. And we were... They were like, dude. And I was like, alright, this is gonna be good. What is it? They're like, Chatot. And I was like, okay, you know how specially offensive my team is. You know that I already have 2 flying types. Like, what does Chatot do for me? And they were like, Specs Boom Burst. And I was like, on the one hand, you're not wrong. But you're definitely not right. Although Chatter seems interesting, going through substitutes, stab flying type move, confusing every time.
And then going to Jirachi and just clicking Heart Stamp 100 times.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. So, so I naturally didn't draft it, and instead decided to draft Kingler, which I think did enough different things from Tapu Fini to justify it as a water type. It's a really strong physical attacker from tier 5B. Sheer Force makes it even stronger. Hyper Cutter makes it unintimidatable. Shell Armor means I can't get critted, which is actually just I might run because I'm scared. And base 115 defense is not anything to sneeze at. So what do you think about Kingler as a last pick?
Let's just look at this attack. 135. Now, if you get up a Swords Dance, picture this. I want you to picture you're standing next to a baseball field, for example. This pitcher throws a 95-mile-per-hour fastball at your chest. That's basically what it feels like to get hit by a crab hammer from a +2 Kingler.
And Crab Hammer, I believe, also gets sheer force boosted, right?
Yes, it does, because it has the ability to drop defense.
Yes. Not that I would ever get the secondary effect anyway, so sheer force is like my favorite ability. And so, yeah, Crab Hammer, X Scissor, it gets
Knock, I think.
Knockoff, I believe. I'm pretty sure it gets knockoff.
I think it gets knockoff. This thing is literally like if Nemo became a Pokemon and became decent. Look at that big left hook. Who wants to get hit with that left hook?
Dude, Metal Claw. Could run Rock Slide. Stomping Tantrum. Superpower. I mean, it gets some solid moves. I could run Scald too.
Yeah.
If I really want
who doesn't love Scald?
I mean, why not? I won't get the burn, but it'll look cool. So that's the draft. That's the 11 Pokemon: Landorus-Therian, Mega Gallade, Tapu Fini, Jolteon, Mandibuzz, Roserade, Chandelure, Ribombee, Drampa, Jirachi, and Kingler. And at this point, I had a chance to allocate Z points. Now, because this draft was supposed to be Ubers, they had a lot of Z points, and they said that you were not limited to the 3 Pokemon that most leagues limit you to. So I decided, since I didn't have any Ubers, that I could just give Z points to everything, except for Mega Gallade. So Landorus-Therian, Chandelure, Ribombee, Drampa, and Kingler are all eligible Z users on my team because of the way the point allocation worked out. So that is 5 of the 10 non-Mega Pokemon on my team that have access to Z moves. Now, I'm only allowed to use offensive Z moves. They had a rule where it was 20 more points to make it so they could use any Z move as opposed to strictly offensive Z moves. But I was looking at it, and the only one that I would be considering using a non-offensive Z move was Ribombee, really ever. And so I decided just to allocate regular Z moves, just offensive ones. There's plenty of coverage there, and let's be honest, most of the time it's going to be a Ground EM, Rock EM, or Flying EMZ from Landorus, or a Fire EMZ from Chandelure. I mean, that's just most of the time it's going to be that.
Or, like you said earlier, Drampa being able to do anything it wants to.
Yep. 17 different types of offensive Z moves.
That's crazy.
Ribombee getting +1, maybe +2 from Quiver Dance, and then slapping off a Z Twinkle Tackle. Good luck with even resisting surviving that.
Get pushed.
Kingler, Swords Dance, Waturium Z. Does it get Aerial Ace? I think it gets Aerial Ace.
I think it does. So a flying Kingler coming at you.
No, it doesn't get Aerial Ace, looks like, but
what? Aw, feels bad, man.
It doesn't get Aerial Ace or Bounce, unfortunately, but
that's so sad.
That would have been fun. But it does get like Fightinium Z, Buggy MZ, like Dark EMZ, Rock EMZ, so definitely options there.
Yeah.
So ItzSawk, I know you didn't do the power rankings for the GBA, but if you had to rank my team as terms of like viability in this league, do you think I really like screwed myself? Do you think I've given myself a good shot? Do you think I should have taken a Uber even though I didn't? What kind of like what's your final rating, ItzSawk?
All right, so going on the classic A to F scale, I'm gonna have to give you a. We're gonna have to go with an A-.
That's way better than I was expecting.
An A- because the ability of Mega Gallade, Landorus-Therian, Tapu Fini, Mandibuzz, and Roserade to change sets at willy-nilly. It can do whatever it wants to for a good portion of any game. You can change this to Landorus-Therian's now defensive, and you have a Specs Tapu Fini. Anything is replaceable and can change sets that it forces so much different prep. It's such a mind gaming team. Also, it has Drampa, so it's automatically at least B tier.
All right, I will actually take that. I will take that straight to the bank, put that in the back pocket, cherish it forever. A- in an Ubers format that I did not draft an Uber in. So my first ever Ubers format. Battles will be coming out. This video probably won't come up for like a week and a half. Battles won't be starting until like September 24th for this league, but I figured I should get the draft analysis done as soon as I could. So